over 40 years, Patti LaBelle has been singing from her heart. With her emotional intensity, irrepressible wit, and of course her mighty voice. Patti is that rare performer who manages to be genuine both on and off the stage.
Whenever I'm asked to do certain things, I'm always thinking in the back of my mind, do they want the real Patti or do they want a pretend Patti? Because if they want the pretend one, she's not coming. What you see is what you get. And if they call me to sing at the White House, which they have done, I said, well, when I go, if they're going to get the real Patti, I'm going to roll on the floor and kick my shoes off. And that's just what I did. And that's what I will continue to do, be myself.
Patti LaBelle was born Patricia Louise Holt on May 24, 1944. Growing up outside of Philadelphia, Patsy, as she was called, was a timid and quiet little girl.
I thought that I was going to be a housewife. And I was very shy and very introverted. And whatever I had inside, which you're all seeing now, didn't come out very much then. I grew up with 3 sisters. We all had totally different personalities. And Vivian was beautiful, I mean, like glamorous, and Barbara was very godly-like. She was very quiet and peaceful, and Jackie was a hellfire.
Patsy's father was a talented nightclub singer who introduced her to the thing that would forever change her life, the joy of music.
My father had a great voice. One day I said to my father, one day, Daddy, I'm gonna sing Rings Around You, because I knew he was like in the clubs, and I figured he was like big time. And I said, I'm gonna sing Rings Around You one day. He said, yeah, that's right, Daddy's baby, that's right, you will. My mother was a no-nonsense mother. She would curse you out if you did anything wrong to her or her children.
Trapped in an abusive marriage, Patsy's mother eventually found the strength to divorce her husband.
My father used to beat on my mother, but she wasn't the kind that would take that abuse. She would fight back, and I just couldn't stand to see them fighting and hearing them, and it was awful. And so they said, for the kids' sake, we're going to split. So they finally did split up, and my mother remained a strong woman.
But soon after her father left, Patsy's childhood was invaded by a terrifying and unspeakable horror.
I was sexually molested by this gentleman friend of our family for a long, long time, and I never talked about it because I thought that it was so dirty and so nasty that people would look at me as the perpetrator, the one who initiated all this stuff. And of course I didn't, but I never saw myself as a good person after that.
Shy and withdrawn, Patsy soon found solace in her church, where her choir director persuaded her to use her gifted voice.
It makes me feel very, very blessed to know that I had that kind of people around who saw in me what I didn't see. They pushed it out of me. They forced me to sing.
While still in high school, Patsy gained enough confidence to join her first singing group.
When I was 15, I was singing with the Ordettes, and we had a manager at the time. His name was Bernard Montague.
Montague brought Patsy together with Cindy Birdsong, Sarah Dash, and Nona Hendrix. Together, the 4 girls formed a close and enduring bond.
We were very close. We got along well. We had a little bickerings at times, of course. We became like sisters on the road.
Oh, Patsy traveled across the country with the Ordettes, performing everywhere from high school gymnasiums and roller rinks to small clubs and truck stops.
We traveled on a station wagon, the 6 of us, Mr. Montague and Mrs. Montague were our chaperones. Our parents put us in their hands because we were young. We were so young.
In 1962, when Patsy was just 17, Montague arranged for the group to audition for Harold B. Robinson, the owner of Bluebell Records. Robinson took one look at Patsy and rejected her on sight. He felt that she was too dark and plain to be a lead singer. But when she began to sing, he quickly changed his mind. On April 8, 1962, Robinson signed the girls to their first recording contract as the Bluebelles. However, he felt the name Patsy Holt was too ordinary, so the man who thought she wasn't pretty enough renamed her Patti Labelle, French for the beautiful. With Patti's incredible vocal range and the girls' perfect harmonies, the Bluebelles became one of the most popular acts on the Chitlin circuit, a series of rock and roll theaters that catered to black audiences. Eventually, they were invited to sing at Harlem's world-famous Apollo Theater.
If you got a chance to perform at the Apollo, you've arrived.
Every group that went there were shaking in their boots, especially the first time, because we'd heard of stories that they'll throw rotten eggs at you or tomatoes, you know, if they don't like it, or they'll boo you off the stage. And they will, and they have done it, and they still do it.
We got to the Apollo, and we were told that we could do one song. And we said, fine, we're so happy, we'll sing a half a song. So we did, I think, You'll Never Walk Alone. And after performing, we went to our dressing room, and the two gentlemen came up and said, you girls were so good, we want to give you 2 songs. And that was like gold. I mean, you don't get that at the Apollo.
They were the best group sound. They were the best blend that I had ever heard when I first heard them, which was at the Brooklyn Fox Theater.
They had big fans. They had stalwart, loyal fans. They did not have as many hits as the Shirelles, for instance, or the Shangri-Las, or Ronnie and the Ronettes, but they were right up there.
There was nobody on the rock and roll circuit like Patti. That could hit those notes. People would stand up as soon as she hit them.
With standing ovations at each performance, Patti LaBelle and the Bluebelles soon became known as the sweethearts of the Apollo. In April of 1963, during a rare break in touring, Armstead Edwards, a young family friend, introduced Patti to Otis Williams of the Temptations. It was the beginning of a beautiful relationship.
I had a date and went to pick her up, and she wasn't at home. And rather than go by myself or go back home, I said, what can I do on my 21st birthday?
So I said, I'll go out with you tonight. It's your birthday. I'll go out. So the Temptations were in town at the Showboat in Philadelphia. And we went to the show. And that particular night, I met Otis Williams of the Temptations. So we exchanged numbers, and Otis and I became an item.
At the end of 1963, Patti's romance with Otis became serious, and within a year they were engaged. But their busy touring schedules often kept them apart for months at a time. Eventually, Patti began to have second thoughts.
We had our conversations talking about the wedding and once we got married and what we were going to do. And he said, well, when we get married, you're going to move to Detroit and not sing anymore. I said, I have to get out of this. And so I said to Otis, look, I really love you, but I can't move to Detroit and I can't stop singing. I was in love with the Temptation. And I realized that later, but at the time I thought I was in love with the man.
Although her breakup with Otis was painful, Patti soon realized that her real love had been there all along.
I don't think that I knew that I loved her until she had started dating Otis Williams from the Temptations and became engaged to him. And then it sort of like clicked in my head that this shouldn't be.